Jimmy Horn Jr. gets to visit with his brother Shedeur Sanders. Panthers rookie receiver Jimmy Horn Jr. had a little family reunion Wednesday morning. Horn, who was mic'd up for the practice, caught up with former Colorado teammate and perhaps relative Shedeur Sanders prior to the joint practice. They exchanged greetings and realized they were in the same shoes before getting down to the business of the day. In addition to playing together in college, they're obviously close. Colorado coach Deion Sanders, who coached his sons Shedeur and Shiloh, now a safety in Bucs camp, famously called Horn my favorite son. "It's going to be exciting to see him again, you know," Horn said on Saturday night after Fan Fest when asked about his old teammate. "I can't wait to see how he's doing out there, like get to see him in person and stuff, so it's going to be good to see him again." Horn said he's also staying in touch with Shedeur's father, who recently revealed a diagnosis of bladder cancer. "I text him like every other week," Horn said. "I love Coach just to check in with him. It might not be too long of a convo, but it's just a little small checkup. You know, that could mean a lot to him and me." In the sweltering August heat of Charlotte, North Carolina, two young men stood across from each other on opposite sidelines, helmets tucked under their arms, grinning like they'd just stepped back onto the campus of the University of Colorado. Jimmy Horn Jr., now a Carolina Panther, stood near the 50-yard line after a day's worth of joint practices with the Cleveland Browns. On the other side, in orange and brown, was Shedeur Sanders, quarterback leader, and as Jimmy called him with a smile, "My brother." Their reunion wasn't scheduled. It wasn't highlighted on any NFL calendar or practice plan. But for those who knew their story, from their days lighting up college football under Coach Prime to the bond forged far beyond the field, it was the kind of moment that transcended football. Back to Boulder. Shedeur Sanders and Jimmy Horn Jr. met not just as teammates, but as survivors of a storm. Both had arrived at Colorado during the media frenzy of Deion Sanders' tenure, burdened with expectations and chased by doubters. They came from different places. Shedeur from Jackson State with a famous name and a sharper arm than anyone expected. Jimmy from South Florida, fast, fiery, and hungry for a spotlight he had long been denied. But in Boulder, they found more than success. They found each other. Touchdown after touchdown, highlight after highlight, the two became a dynamic duo. But more importantly, they became family. Whether it was in the locker room, the film room, or late-night talks in campus dorms, they built something unshakable. "We were more than teammates," Jimmy would later say. "We were built together. Every snap, every rep, he was my brother. Different paths, same dream." The NFL doesn't care about college bonds. It chews up relationships as fast as it does rookies. But somehow, fate found a way to bring them back together, if only for a day. Jimmy had fought tooth and nail for a spot on the Panthers roster, turning heads in rookie camp and shining on special teams. Shedeur, meanwhile, had climbed the Browns' depth chart, recently named the starter for the team's first preseason game. The odds of both men landing in the same stadium, on the same day, were astronomical. And yet, there they were. As the horn sounded, ending the final joint practice of the week, Shedeur jogged across the field. His visor was up, his grin wide. Jimmy met him halfway. They didn't speak at first, just hugged, the kind of hug that said, "We made it." Nearby cameras caught the moment. Fans watching didn't need captions. This was brotherhood. A quiet conversation. Later, away from reporters, the two sat on a bench near the sideline. Just two rookies in the NFL, far from Boulder, but right where they belonged. "Remember when we said this would happen?" Jimmy said, tapping his cleats together like a kid in the backyard. Shedeur nodded. "We didn't know how. But yeah, we knew." They laughed. Talked about the speed of the league. The pressure. The crazy playbooks. Jimmy joked about how one Panthers coach kept calling him lightning in cleats, and Shedeur warned him about Cleveland winters. But then the conversation turned quieter. "I wouldn't be here without you," Jimmy admitted, voice steady. Shedeur didn't argue. He just bumped his shoulder and said, "Same." In that moment, titles didn't matter. Draft positions didn't matter. Fame, money, stats, none of it did. Only the journey did. Coach Prime sends a message. That night, a photo of their reunion went viral. Two jerseys, #2 and number 12, embracing on a Carolina practice field. Deion Sanders reposted the photo with a simple caption. "Built different. Still together. #proudfather, #PrimeBoys." He had every right to feel proud. He'd not only coached these young men, he had watched them grow. From wide-eyed recruits to leaders to pros. But what mattered most to Deion was never the spotlight. It was loyalty, brotherhood. faith. And in that moment, his boys proved those values never left them. What comes next? After the preseason, Shedeur and Jimmy will return to their own paths. Different teams, different goals. But something tells you that every Sunday, one will check the other's box score. Every touchdown will come with a quiet prayer for the other's success. Jimmy Horn Jr. may become Carolina's breakout slot receiver. Shedeur Sanders may take the reins as Cleveland's quarterback of the future. Or maybe the NFL will shuffle them again, pull them apart, bring them back. Who knows? What's certain is this: wherever they go with each other's belief behind them.